Welcome back. Well, a common belief is that the problems of hunger is greatest in big cities or urban areas. But it's the suburbs where poverty and food insecurity is hidden in plain sight. Joining today's discussion is RFL host Richard French with the warriors on the front lines, the leaders at the largest food banks in our area. Rich.
Well, thank you very much, Courtney. Joining us now for our roundtable are three ladies who know about this issue intimately. Leslie Gordon, President and CEO of the Food Bank of Westchester, the Director of Development and Gifts from the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, Nadine Rosenbaum-Lehrer, and Randy Shubin-Dresner, the President and CEO of Island Harvest on Long Island. I want to thank you all for joining us. And Randy, I'll start with you because for years, along with others, we've had this conversation. How, if at all, has the face or the demand of the hungry changed?
You know, I've been in this business for well over 17 years. The stories are just as disheartening today as they were years ago. But we see that our pantries are struggling. We have a network of 400 nonprofit organizations across Long Island, and they are continuously telling us that they have to pick and choose how much food they could give to people because there are so many more people coming in looking for food. We've opened our own pantry and we find the same thing. And it's horrible to have to say to a family coming in that you can only have a couple of cans because there are other people behind you. So it's something that we all struggle with.
And you know, Leslie, when I've talked to soup kitchens or even the suppliers of the food, years ago, this was intended to be a few days a week for one meal a day, and now it's a 7-day-a-week program in many cases, multiple meals a day. The demand is just skyrocketed, and it's not what people would think is central casting. I mean, you say Westchester, oh, the golden apple, there couldn't really be any hunger there, but it runs the gamut, including working families.
It's our seniors, it's our kids, it's working families. I mean, Westchester County is a place that's often known for its seeming level of affluence first, and yet there's a significant need that resides in this county. Nearly 20% or 1 in 5 of our Westchester County residents don't always know when their next meal is coming from or what it will be. And listen, it's expensive to live here in Westchester County, right? So after you pay your rent, put gas in your car, clothes and shoes on your kids, food is often the first thing to go. It's something that unfortunately people make trade-offs with. So parents will do things like, you know, water-down drinks and water-down food, feed their kids before they feed themselves. You know, a family of 4 here in Westchester County has to make upwards of $100,000 a year just to make ends meet. And then food is often the last thing that they start to think about. And so at Feeding Westchester, we're really glad to be at the heart of a network of nearly 300 food pantries and soup kitchens and shelters and senior centers across the county to provide them with access to good, nutritious food. But as you said, it's a pretty substantial problem, right? We knew, you know, that there was, you know, a significant growth in the number of people in need after the economic downturn about 10 years ago. But the truth is that we haven't seen a decrease in the number of people who are looking for food support. In fact, it's just the opposite.
Right, and I know that's caught some by surprise. Somebody once told me, don't look always who's coming in the front door. Look who shows up at the side. And I've heard stories about people who used to go there to volunteer or to drop off food, and now they're clients, as they're called. They're coming there because they need it, or they're coming there after work because they don't have enough money to go to the grocery store and fill up the house. And they don't want to be there. No one's showing up these things because it's a fun way to spend an evening or a weekend. Sometimes they swallow pride when they come there. Try as best you can to put a human face which might surprise some of our audience. Who needs you guys?
So many people need us. There is 1 in 3 families in New Jersey that can't make ends meet. And actually, it is growing
That's
exponentially.
amazing if you think about
It's
it, right?
really, it's absolutely shocking.
And if I
Whenever you
can
tell
pull the
people
veneer
that-
back, anybody who says, and they don't want to say this out, oh, it must just be illegal immigrants who are coming here, or it must just be junkies or whatever. This is every color in the rainbow here, every age, people who work. I mean, it's everybody, right?
It's really, the working poor. In New Jersey. New Jersey is a very wealthy state, and people are shocked. When you go out to our food pantries, I went to one of our farmers markets, and there was a mother there. She had 3 children. One of them was disabled. She was just recently separated from her husband, and she was at this farmers market for the first time, ever. And she was really struggling. She was really struggling to put, food on the table, and actually healthy food. And we have about 18 farmers markets. We have over 1,000 agencies throughout New Jersey that we work with that distribute the food. And she, was really thankful to be able to put healthy food on the table for her children. She was going without food, and she was, eating, whatever she can, so that we're able to provide that. But whenever you tell anybody that 1 in 3 families are struggling to have, basic modern necessities, it's transportation, it's childcare. It is so expensive, to live in New Jersey. And just the need is growing. There's over 900,000 people, and that's 1 in 7 children. So I always tell my daughter, she has a class of about 23 kids, there's probably one of your classmates, or up to 2, that are probably struggling, at night when they go home.
And Randa, one of the things that was explained, tell me if you run into is, it sometimes will take one thing to take somebody that would have never thought about it. Somebody could be in an abusive relationship, they have to flee, and then all of a sudden they don't have a roof over their head. Or somebody's working part-time jobs, one of the jobs dries up where they go, the car breaks down, a kid gets sick. Things that I'm sure our audience can relate to, oh, that could be me. It's that one thing, when you're living on the edge, if one thing goes wrong, then you better have a place you can go to help put food in the belly.
You don't even have to be right at the edge. So we had a father. We have a very strong SNAP outreach program, and one of the fathers that came to meet with our staff said that he was just recently diagnosed with cancer, and he was the major wage earner in the home, and he had to leave his job, because of he had a very aggressive form of cancer. He wasn't one paycheck away, but because he had to leave his job, he wasn't sure how he was going to be paying to put food on the table for his kids after a couple of months of his treatment. Look, it's people that are affected with food insecurity are the kids sitting next to our kids in school, but it's also perhaps our own relatives that we may not realize, or our neighbors right next door. When we go out into the community, you can almost count off, depending on which community you're living in, how many people are struggling. Look, let's be honest, when you're struggling to put food on the table for your family, it's not something you're going to be bragging about to people in the community. And so it's one of those secret things that you keep back. When we talk about how people are managing, imagine having an infant and not being able to afford the formula and having to water that formula down. Now what's happening is you're impacting that child's life and their health. And so it's actually going to become a problem later on, because that child wasn't given the right nutrients as an infant.
So with the time we have left, let people know at home how they can help, and there's 3 big ways, right? I mean, you certainly need contributions, all of you, because you guys know the best way to stretch that dollar here. It's not a 1-day or a 2-day a year thing. This is around the clock. Sure. Also, it's volunteerism, and also it's donations. Start on the money side. Explain why, if they make a contribution to your organizations, you guys know more so than just buying a can how to really maximize that.
Yeah, so we tell people hunger doesn't take a holiday, right? It's 365 days a year. We've got professional food sourcers and professional distribution experts on staff. And so for every $1 that someone donates, we're able to purchase 4 meals worth of food and distribute them efficiently and quickly to get it into the hands of people who need it. You know, malnutrition is actually an issue for those who are food insecure. They, you know, feel like they need to relegate themselves to the inner aisles of the grocery store, where it's laden with packaged foods that often have high levels of fat, sugar, and salt that contribute to diet-related diseases. And so we're glad to be able to turn that $1 into good fresh produce among some other things.
Let's talk about if people want to help and talk about goods. If they want to bring something in, what do you want them to bring in, and what would you prefer they not?
Well, we always say, you know, bring in non-perishables, you know, peanut butters, cereals. You know, diapers are huge. People don't realize that under SNAP, diapers and actually feminine hygiene products and toiletries are considered a luxury item. So it's not something that is covered under SNAP. All kinds of, you know, like non-perishables. I mean, but we always tell people we have about 43,000 volunteer visits. You know, the community food bank is a 285 square foot warehouse space. It's as big as 5 football fields. So we always tell people, you know, come to the food bank and see what it's all about. From sorting food, bring your children, you know, to teach them, you know, about their hungry neighbors.
And in fact, Randy, that's the last point I want to do. Some people want to help, but they don't want to seem like they're, you know, a vulture coming in, like lording over. What should they know? Because you can use the help, right?
We definitely could use the help. I think that all of our
Kids
food banks,
too?
all of our food banks depend on volunteer support. But I would like to say this: we often have parents tell us, "Tell me where the nearest soup kitchen is. I want to throw my kids in there so that they can learn a lesson about how much they have." And the truth of the matter is that that's not how you teach your children about giving back and about understanding what the needs are in the community. The way to teach your children is by creating an atmosphere and a culture of giving in your home. And that it should you could consider having a culture of volunteering in your home as well, because children will understand that as a way of their life, because that's what they've seen, and they will model that behavior rather than scaring a child into getting to learn about what they really have in life.
Well, we've brought up your sites as you've been talking, and obviously wherever you are to look out, but these are 3 fantastic organizations with all the same common aim. Thank you. I wish you guys all a very happy Thanksgiving, and obviously a lot of people out there can use your help as well.
Richard, thank you. Well, there's more ahead on Harvest for Hunger, including the incredible story of a former butcher who's made it his mission to put food on the table for veterans all across the nation. That and more when we return. Stay with us.